Hello, operator. Can you please connect me with OTR Halloween Holidays? I don't want to miss this episode of the Baba Ghoulie Show.
Good evening, friends. This is your host to welcome you through the creaking door into the Inner Sanctum. Come on in. One prankish little fellow, whom we shall call Maniac, for lack of a stronger word, just set fire to the walls. He said a closed room made him feel confined. As a result, 4 other characters are slightly burned up now.
Tonight's Inner Sanctum mystery, Corpse for Halloween, was written by John Robert and stars Larry Haynes in the role of Jimmy with Barry Kroger as Kavanaugh.
And now, let's unhinge our minds a little. After all, what's a little insanity among friends? Tonight's story dramatizes the fanatical hold of memory. The one scene, the one fragment that plays and replays over and over again in your mind. The one terror that's with you when you dine and when you walk and when you sleep.
Sleep. Who can sleep? I'm here in the 35-cent flop, but I'm in the Burma jungle. Watching a scene that never gets stale, even though it's 5 years old. I can hear sounds travel across the brush. I pick them up as if I'm a receiving set. Animal sounds. And I see, as if my eyes are in the sky, I see 2 grim figures standing with their rifles aimed at a pair of jungle beasts, a tiger and its mate, in a crouch, ready to jump. They fire point blank together, as if by signal. No good. They miss. The beasts roar and leap. I hear them scream out, Kavanaugh and Boxer Dolan, just before they die. 5 years. And you've been everywhere trying to forget. And you almost do forget. But it edges right back into your mind by itself. Like when a guy suddenly sneaks up on you in the night.
Do you have a match?
What?
Do you have a match?
Oh, yeah, sure. You popped up on me so suddenly.
You're a nervous man. Thank you. I have a parcel with me. For you.
For me? What, are you kidding?
No. I have a parcel for you. Here, take it.
Wait a minute. Hey, wait! But he's gone. Just the way he came. As if he's a chip off my sanity. As if there'd been nobody. But there is a package left with me. The mind doesn't dream up a package. A cardboard box, heavy kind of. And tissue, lots of tissue around something that had the feel of a head. It is a head. The stuffed head of a jungle tiger. Its mouth fixed in the snarl that sends the blood hammering to my head. Doesn't make sense. No good figuring it out. Toss it into the river, box and all, and get away. Get among the people. Yeah, Rocco's. Go to Rocco's. Get the jukebox going and slip into a fog. Coffee, Rocco.
Jimmy, I got something for you.
For me, Rocco?
A package. A guy come in before and leaves a package for you. See? For Jimmy Fox. Your name on it.
My name? My name's Jimmy Scott. You know that.
Scott, yes, but the man says your name is also Jimmy Fox.
He says he knows. He knows? I took the package outside into the night, into an alleyway. Another cardboard box, heavy. And tissue, lots of tissue around something that had the feel of a head. It was a head, but not a tiger's this time. It was a human skull. It shone with a hard white light where the moon touched it. And then it seemed to speak.
Do you have a match?
What?
You're being an idiot. It isn't the skull talking to you, it's me.
You? Where are you?
I'm behind you.
I don't see you.
It's because you're afraid to. See me now?
Yeah. A black suit and a face grinning at me like a laughing mask.
It is a laughing mask.
Well, why are you wearing a mask?
Why not? Tonight's Halloween.
Halloween? Sure. Halloween. Not everybody plays jokes. Oh, gosh, I should have remembered it was Halloween.
Can you identify the skull?
Identify? Look, what kind of a gag are you trying to...
Suppose I give you an hour to identify the skull. It's 8 now. Until 9 o'clock then, Jimmy.
Wait. Hey, wait. It was gone again. As if there'd been nobody. Just another big chip off my sanity. I really had to get away from myself now. I hit the back streets, and then somewhere a big neon sign across a tenement pulled me off the sidewalk. It read, the Tillery Street Boys Neighborhood Association. Halloween costume ball. Public invited. A girl in a booth, masked like a witch, stopped me at the door.
Mask, mister?
Mask. Oh, sure. Give me one.
Black, green, yellow, or purple? What's your favorite color?
Yellow.
Here you are. 50 cents.
There you are.
Oh,
Oh, what?
just a description left with me. I'd almost forgotten. Are you Jimmy Fox?
Suppose I was Jimmy Fox. What about it?
This grocery bag was left here for you. A man told me to tell you. You forgot it somewhere. And he said that he'd meet you one place or another later. Here, take it. By the shape of it, I'd say you had a Halloween pumpkin inside.
What if I told you there was a human skull inside that grocery bag? He'd meet me one place or another. He did. He was under a street lamp, waiting for me to happen along.
Hello, Jimmy. Have you dared to call the skull by name yet? Or must I?
Look, that gag isn't paying off, mister. All right, go ahead, you call it by name.
Dolan. Boxer Dolan, remember him?
I never knew the guy. You no doubt got me confused.
Have I, Jimmy? You've changed your appearance cleverly, except for one thing disguise could never conceal.
One thing?
Your guilt. You wear it like a badge of shame.
Oh, what am I guilty of?
Murder. 2 men left an encampment in the Burma jungle just before dawn. 2 men. Boxer Dolan and Kavanaugh. A 3rd man remained behind. He played sick, pretended to have fever. The 3rd man was you, Jimmy. Must I tell you the rest?
Tell me the rest.
Dolan and Kavanaugh carried rifles in the event of a jungle encounter. There was a jungle encounter, a tiger and its mate. An emergency, but an easy one to resolve for 2 expert hunters. Just 1 shot apiece, and there'd be 2 more dead tigers. Just 1 shot apiece. They had their 1 shot apiece. But the tigers didn't drop dead in their tracks. Instead, Boxer Dolan and Kavanaugh dropped. Ask me what happened, Jimmy.
What happened?
During the night, someone had emptied their rifle loads and substituted blank bullets. You did that, Jimmy. You engineered the murder of 2 men. You murdered your 2 partners in crime. Just 1 day's push from the Hindu temple you'd all teamed up to loot. They got within 24 hours of treasure, and then you murdered them. 1 more day to the temple, so why split 3 ways, huh?
Huh? You know about the temple? But I never pushed on to that temple. No loot, no nothing. How about that?
You lost your nerve. You just hadn't counted on losing your nerve.
What are you, a detective?
No. I'm your second victim on Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh? But Kavanaugh was killed.
Unfortunately for you, he wasn't. I'll show you what I had to survive. Feel my sleeve.
Feel it. It's empty.
Torn out of the socket. Now the face behind this laughing gargoyle I wear. See the left profile. Oh, it isn't pretty, is it? The eye's gone, too. I spent 5 years finding you, Jimmy. I've waited a long time to let you see my face.
You came after me to kill me?
After you've had the same 24 hours you arranged the Dolan and I would have.
What do you mean, the same 24 hours?
Unarmed, in the jungle, and helpless. I'm going to hunt you for 24 hours. In this jungle, the jungle of the city, with every beast of prey I can buy. I'm going to hunt you, Jimmy. And in the end, when I've wrung every suffering from you, I'm going to kill you.
What do you mean? Every beast of prey you can buy.
The denizens of the city jungle, the riffraff, the murderers, the men and women who buy and sell murder. I can afford them, Jimmy. See this, Ruby?
Hey, is it real?
And I have dozens, Jimmy, dozens. I didn't lose my nerve. It's 10 o'clock. You can go now. Go and see if you can escape me and my pack.
You're going through with this?
Get along, Jimmy. Hurry. The beasts will be coming at you from the sewers and the cellars, ambushing you from the shadows, into the dawn and through the day for 24 hours, until 10 tomorrow night. Or you win. You live. Hurry, Jimmy. See how painful death can be.
That Kavanaugh's one fella I never want to hunt me up. No, sir. That guy slays for creeps. 24 hours. Kavanaugh's got 24 hours to kill, and Jimmy has just enough time to die. Yes, you know, Jimmy might win out over Kavanaugh, now that he's got an extra skull to go with the one he's stuck with. After all, 2 heads are better than 1. Let's live out the terror now, shall we?
An animal game of murder for 24 hours. I was to be hunted down in a jungle where human beasts came at you from the sewers and cellars, where killers in the hire of a homicidal lunatic lay in ambush. Well, I had to win. I had to save myself. I had to. Hide. The thing to do was to hide, fade into an alleyway and find a cellar and stay put for 24 hours. Just stay put. With the sickening reek of the garbage cans until 10 tomorrow night. Was I alone? Movement. There was a whispering movement somewhere in the cellar. A faint rattle of ash cans, as if the wind was rattling them. Wind in an airtight cellar. Hello? Anybody there? No answer. I've been imagining. But then something winged at me, goring into my shoulder, sharp and deadly like a knife. I came to, bleeding from a shoulder gash. I got out of there and back into the streets, into a jungle of faces. It was Halloween night like I'd never seen it. Masks and costumes on kids of 6 and old crones of 60. A crazy jungle of witches and snarling sea captains and lunatics. They couldn't all be in the hire of Kavanaugh. And then, where a fence was plastered with circus posters of jungle animals, a zany-looking guy was shooting from the hip at the poster while making menacing faces like a bad man. I caught a whiff of powder in the night air. The shot had burned into the poster. I crept up behind him. Faking a gun with my fist in my coat pocket, I rammed against his back. Get him up, pal.
I got nothing about Suspense.
Your gun. I want your gun. Hand it over.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Now walk. Walk up the block and don't turn back to look. I had a gun now, and the tables were turned. I was the hunter now. I drifted to the docks and took up a position with my back to the river.
Thinking of suicide, Jimmy?
Not anymore, Kavanaugh.
You sound as if your morale had suddenly improved.
My morale's going great, Kavanaugh. Your animal hunt's about to boomerang, blow right up in your face like this. Who's hunting who, Kavanaugh? Who's hunting who? Kavanaugh kept standing up. 3 bullets, point blank, enough to blow his head off, but Kavanaugh kept standing up unharmed.
How does it feel to hunt game with blank cartridges like Boxer Dolan and I did once?
Blank cartridges? But that crazy-looking guy, I saw him burn a hole in the circus poster.
Only 1 bullet. The first one was real. Simple.
Yeah, simple. I get it. Dead-Eye Dick was another one of your beasts.
Who's hunting who, Jimmy? Who's hunting who?
Kavanaugh! Kavanaugh, wait! Kavanaugh, kill me! Get it over with and kill me now, will you? Kavanaugh, you gotta kill me! I had to get out of there. The subway. Yeah, the subway. Fade into the subway. Get on a train and ride to the end of the line. Ride out of the jungle. An empty station. No one in it. No someone. 2 people. A dapper little guy buried behind a newspaper. And an old lady in ragged clothes carrying a pet half hidden under a coat. A pet that looked like a cat. She came up to me, close, like to ask me something.
This side goes to Lefferts Avenue Station?
Lefferts, I don't know. I'm a stranger here.
Oh, hush, Genevieve. Oh, Genevieve is hungry.
That's not a cat.
No, son. A cub. A tiger cub.
A tiger cub?
Would you like to stroke Genevieve?
Oh, no.
Don't run away, son. Genevieve won't hurt.
I ran away with the old crone after me, hobbling in her skirts, and the little dapper guy behind the newspaper circling at me from the opposite direction, cornering me. I jumped to the tracks, my only out, and I ran. I ran deep into the bowels of the subway, deep, very deep, with the little dapper guy after me, as if he meant business. And then the train. It had a Halloween look, too, bearing down on me. An iron face with banjo eyes. I ran against the wall and flattened out. The train flashed past, and the dapper little guy screamed. Kavanaugh was shy, one beast in this jungle. The little guy had been hit glancingly and hurled against the subway wall, pulverized. I got to him quickly and freshed him. I had a gun now. A gun with bullets that killed. I ran a half-mile underground to another station, and then back on the streets. Back in the animal game. It was 3 a.m. A neon sign read, Tillery Street Boys Neighborhood Association. Halloween costume party. People were straggling out. The fun was over. What?
You remember me?
No.
I'm the witch who gave you a free mask and a grocery bag that you forgot somewhere. And you're Jimmy Fox.
Jimmy Scott. I used to be Jimmy Fox. Sister, are you all right?
Am I all right?
I mean, are you just what you look? A sweet kid with brown eyes and a heart.
Are you drunk?
No, beat. I'm dead beat. I've got to hole up somewhere, get some shut-eye. I've got to or I'll die.
You're sick?
Yeah, I'm sick. If I could just sleep around the clock until 10 tomorrow night. If an angel came along and said, come home with me, I'll put you up.
Come home with me, Jimmy. I'll put you up.
I fell asleep on the sofa with the gun under my pillow and the girl on a chair watching me anxiously. I had a friend. I could drop off and live in dreamland until 10 that night. At 10, I could wake up and live. Coming awake, I heard the alarm we'd set go off. The alarm stopped. And there was a sound. An animal sound. And then a claw scratching at me, tearing at my cheek. And I jumped up. The girl was gone. A guy was sitting watching me now. A skinny kid with a heavy shock of hair, not a day over 21.
Oh, that's a lousy way to have to wake up from a sleep, pal.
Lousy way. There was an animal clawing at me. My cheek's bleeding.
Genevieve, she isn't housebroken. Still a little wild. You should have seen her dash for the kitchen when you let out a scream just now.
Genevieve. Who are you?
You're Jimmy Fox, huh?
Yeah.
I got something for you.
For me?
Yeah, it was given to me to give to you. Here.
A ruby. Hey, wait a minute, look. It's 10 o'clock. I set the alarm for 10 and it's 10.
Oh, it's only a quarter of. That clock's always 15 minutes ahead.
Now the game's over. It's 10 and you can't cheat. I've won, Kavanaugh. You can't go back on your promise, Kavanaugh. You can't.
What are you trying to get over, pal? I don't
I've
understand.
won. You can't cheat. I won't be tricked.
A gun. Pal, you're crazy. Here, wait, look. Oh! You're crazy.
It's 10 and I won't be tricked, Kavanaugh. I've won. I'm still on the sofa. My arms are rigid, and my legs rigid. Like something exploded inside me and paralyzed my nerves. I can just look and hear. She's in the room now. The girl with her sweet face and brown eyes. Only her eyes are red, swollen from crying. I hear her talking to a cop. He's taking down what she said.
He was a stray. He was like a sick dog in the street. So I picked him up and brought him home.
Yes, why did he kill your brother, Buddy?
I don't know. I was taking a shower, and I heard him scream like a crazy man. I heard him talk all mixed up. But I was taking a shower, and I couldn't get here in time.
There must be something you can tell me, miss.
Oh, officer, everything is so mixed up. At the Tillery Street costume ball, a man gave me a cat with tiger stripes, and he begged me to keep it for him for a while until he found a new home for it. He'd been evicted, he said.
Yes?
Well, then, in the all-night restaurant my brother works in, a man gave Buddy a ruby to give to Jimmy Fox. When he woke up, he told my brother the ruby belonged to Jimmy Fox.
This piece of glass?
Yes.
That's something off the Woolworth Time counter. What else?
That's all. Really, that's all.
I watch and I hear. I see through Kavanaugh's trick. Get me crazy, so I'll murder a stranger who called himself Buddy. The brother of a girl with brown eyes and a heart. Frame me, so I'll just want to die. Through weeks of a murder trial and months in the death house and 4 minutes in the death chair. I kept listening to them talk. The girl and the cop.
Okay. We'll have to get the rest from Jimmy Fox there. Yeah, look at him. He's paralyzed with fright. I wonder what kind of a crazy Halloween story he's going to try to palm off on us when we get him talking. Captain Devereux speaking. McAvoy, send a police ambulance to 445 10th Street. Apartment 3 rear. And McAvoy, see that a straitjacket's on that ambulance.
Well, quite a chase. It got so poor Jim didn't know whether he was coming or going. Nuts. What got his goat most was the way he kept seeing animals everywhere. Very confusing to a guy on the lam. Yeah, it got so he couldn't tell who's zoo. Moral? Oh, sure. I read this Halloween notice on a tree somewhere. Never hunt out of reason. Good night. Pleasant dreams.
Inner Sanctum was heard in the United States over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System, and has been rebroadcast for servicemen and women overseas. This is the United States Armed Forces Radio Service, the voice of information and education.
It's intermission time at the Baba Ghoulie Show. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for some hot popcorn? How's about your favorite soft drinks, which are sparkling cold? And there's all kinds of candy to tempt you. It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. The following is a PSA from Watchwaddle Productions. Now that autumn is here, be prepared for the day of mischievous pranks and disobedient escapades. That is October 30th.
Happy cabbage nighting!
Halloween Eve. Before the tricks and the treats, there is Cabbage Night. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We now return you to the Baba Ghoulie Show on OTR Halloween Holidays.
Suspense. Mr. Ronald Colman, a star of the Dunwich Horror, a suspense play produced, edited, and directed by William Spear. Come in, Dunwich, Massachusetts. Come in, Dunwich.
Good evening. This is Henry Armitage. I'm speaking to you for... Dr. Rice, please close the window. I'm speaking to you from my laboratory on the slopes of Sentinel Hill near Dunwich, Massachusetts. Present with me is Dr. Warren Rice, my distinguished colleague from Miskatonic University. We are now about 100 yards from the summit of the hill, which is crowned by a huge table-like stone set in the center of a circle of stone pillars, a place of prehistoric worship. A moment ago, You may have heard the dogs of Dunwich Township barking as we have heard them for 3 days and 3 nights. Dr. Rice and I know the horror which their barking portends, but the purpose of this broadcast is to make this unbelievable horror believable to you. I hope for your sakes and ours we are successful tonight. It is the eve of All Hallows. Tomorrow will be too late. Our time tonight is very short, so I'll speak only of those more recent events which, believe me, may culminate at any moment in a climax too frightful to wholly contemplate. I will begin with the birth of Wilbur Whately. It was the night of February the 2nd, 1921. Candlemas. Toward dawn, when Lavinia Whately, a deformed albino woman about 35 years old, gave birth to her dark, goatish-looking son in the crumbling Whately farmhouse northeast of the village. No one attended her. No doctor or midwife. No one was with her, except her aged, half-insane father, who was known as Wizard Whately. So Wilbur came into this world under heaven knows what incantations, what appeals to what power. A week later, Wizard Whately drove his sleigh into Dunwich village and reported the event to a group of loungers in Osborne's general store.
Hey, your grandson got yellow hair like Lavinia, Wizard?
No, takes after his father more. He's dark.
You never spoke of who his father might be now, did you?
Oh, you know his father when the time comes. Oh, Lavinia's read and seen some things the most of you only talk about. I calculate her husband's as good as you can find this side of Aylesbury.
Well, we don't be nosy, Wizard.
Maybe it wanted no church that none of you heard of. But you wouldn't ask no better church wedding than Lavinia's.
Why, I didn't hear tell of no wedding, Wizard. When was that?
Oh, not a wedding you'd hear of, Corey. Not a husband you'd hear of, neither. But let me tell you something. Someday you folks will hear a child of Lavinia's calling its father's name on top of Sentinel Hill.
Prophecy? Or idle boasting by an insane old man? Oh, I know I ask a great deal when I ask you to believe that the arrival of an infant into that house of dire poverty and squalor could possibly constitute a horror and a threat to all our known world. Yet it has an earthly history. Perhaps through this history you will be able to give it credence. Wilbur Whately's growth was uncanny. But even if he had been an average child, he would have become, in time, an unnatural being, for he was surrounded from the first by the most malign influences. There was his grandfather, old Whately, Wizard Whately, who each Halloween climbed Sentinel Hill to the great circle of stone, and while the hills shook, stood holding a great book open on his arms and shrieked into the wind. Shrieked.
No! Jump off! No! Jump off! No! Jump off!
Yog Sothoth, that dreadful name, first mentioned in the hideous forbidden book, the Necronomicon. And this Wizard Whately was Wilbur's teacher. The villagers began to notice curious things that were going on at the Whately farmhouse. Soon after Wilbur was born, old Whately began to remodel the house. The abandoned upper story was restored, and all the windows were tightly boarded up. And then Wizard began to buy cattle in large numbers, both horses and cows. Yet the livestock on the farm didn't seem to increase. Young Lem Brown was one day curious enough to creep close to the house to count the Whately herd.
Dr. Armitage, there weren't more than 12 cows, and them sick. Looked like they had the blight. and funny wounds on 'em, like cuts. I heard something, too, in the top part of Wizard's house. Something like water slapping inside, only big like a sea.
One other person went to the Waitley farm in the years before I met Wilbur, Dr. Ken Houghton of Aylesbury, who was called by Wilbur himself, who said that his grandfather was dying. Dr. Houghton found the old man in a bedroom on the ground floor, and Wilbur with him. While outside the window, a legion of whippoorwills cried loudly and rhythmically, endlessly. Wilbur spoke about the sound.
Listen, they whistle in time with his breathing now. They're ready. Listen, Doctor. They know his soul's going out. They're waiting.
Yes, Wilbur, that's an interesting superstition. Late in the year for them, too.
When he goes, if they catch him, they'll keep laughing till break of day. If they don't catch him, they'll quiet down.
You mean you believe that... just a minute. I think he's conscious.
Yes, the birds changed when his breathing changed. Like
Willie,
I say.
Willie!
I'm here.
More space, Willie. Remember, more space soon.
Yes, I'll build it.
You grows, but that grows faster. It'll be ready to serve you soon, Willie.
I know.
But remember, when it's time, you open up the gates to Yog Sothoth with the long chant, the one on page 751 of the book. But mind you, feed it enough, 'cause if it gets out before you opens to Yog Sothoth, it's all over. It's no use.
He's going now. He's dead, Wilbur.
Listen. The birds, they didn't get him. Yes, he's free. He's gone.
It was the winter following Wizard Waitley's death that I first met Wilbur. He came in person to the library at Miskatonic University to consult a copy of the hideous Necronomicon, which was kept there in its Latin version, as printed in Spain in the 17th century. I tell you, when he came into my office, I was appalled at his appearance. 8 feet tall, shabby, dirty, bearded. But I was even more appalled by his voice when he spoke to me.
I wrote you a letter a month past, Doctor. I wanted a loan of the book.
Well, that's a book that's never loaned from this library. I doubt if it is from any library.
Well, I have to see it then.
Oh, very well. It's kept right here. As you know, there are only 3 copies of this book in existence. That's why we're careful. Here, you can look at it on this table.
Wizard said it would be on page 751.
What? What is it you're looking for?
The formula, the long chant, the one that opens the gate to Yog Sothoth.
I felt a wave of fright as tangible as a draft from the tomb. He seemed somehow like the spawn of another dimension, like something only partly of mankind, linked to black gulfs beyond all spheres of force and matter, space and time. And presently he raised his head and spoke again.
It's here, all right, but I'll have to have a copy.
Oh, that paragraph there? Oh, I don't
Do
know.
you know Latin, Doctor?
Yes, certainly.
Then read it, Doctor. Let's hear how you make it out.
All right, that shouldn't be difficult. Let's see. Nor is it to be thought that man is the oldest or the last of Earth's masters. The old ones were, and the old ones shall be. Not in the spaces that we know, but between them. But only Yog-Sothoth knows the gate. Yog-Sothoth is the gate to where the old ones broke through of old. Their hands are at your throats, yet ye see them not.
Dr. Armitage, you see, I reckon I've got to take that book home. There's things in it I've got to try, and you can't hold me up.
No, I'm sorry.
I tell you, Doctor, I'll have the book sooner or later, no matter what. You see, that's waiting for me at home won't wait much longer.
It was a week later that I was awakened suddenly by the fierce yelping of the great watchdog on the campus, followed by a sound from a wholly different throat, a scream. And I knew instantly that Wilbur had come back for the Necronomicon. I hastened into my clothes and rushed across to the library where a crowd had gathered before the smashed window of my office. Inside, there was a fearful groaning and growling, and some instinct warned me that what was taking place there was not for unfortified eyes to see. I brushed back the crowd, motioning only to Professor Rice to come in with me. When we opened the study door, Professor Rice screamed.
No, Dr. Armitage, no, I can't.
Come, close the door. We can't let them see. She's alive, but Lord, what a job that dog's done. Torn him to bits. What a horrible sound, that moaning. You suppose we ought to call a doctor?
A doctor? A doctor for that? No doctor in the world would know what to do for that. Look, Armitage, it's not human, nor animal. Where did it come from? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what it is?
No, I couldn't tell what Wilbur Whately was. The thing that lay half bent on its side in a pool of greenish-yellow stickiness was 9 feet tall. And the dog had torn off all the clothing and some of the skins. It was partly human, beyond a doubt, with very man-like hands and head, but the torso and lower parts of the body were fabulous. Its chest had the leathery hide of a crocodile or alligator. But below the waistline, the skin was covered with coarse black fur. And from the abdomen, long greenish-gray tentacles. The limbs terminated in ridgy-veined pads that were neither hooves nor claws. And as Dr. Rice and I stood staring at this presence, the whippoorwills began to cry in unison outside the study window. And then the thing on the floor roused and mumbled.
God.
Armitage, in heaven's name.
Listen. The whippoorwills. Listen. Yes, he's dead now. Look, Rice. Look what's happening.
He's disintegrating.
Of course. Fast, too. Fading away. Because he isn't made of matter as we know it on Earth. I guess he took after his father. So there'll be nothing left.
His father? What was his father?
I daren't think. I thought then that what came into our world with Wilbur Whately left with him. I forgot what he himself had told me of it, which was waiting in the sealed house Wizard Whately had built, where the cattle were driven to disappear. But Wilbur Whately left a diary, written in a strange alphabet resembling Sanskrit. And I worked off and on for weeks to decipher it. And finally, I read the following passage written by Wilbur when he was no more than 8 years old.
That upstairs is more ahead of me than I had thought it would be, and is not like to have much earth brain. I can see it a little when I make the sign or blow the powder of Ivangatse at it. And it is like them I see Halloween on the hill. I wonder how I shall look when the earth is cleared and there are no earth beings. Maybe like that upstairs looks, which has no body, even fed with all the blood.
Toward morning, in a cold sweat of terror, I called Dr. Rice to my house and told him we had to destroy what's in that farmhouse.
Why can't we just leave the thing locked up there? The house is boarded tight.
Yes, but you think boards will hold it? Don't you realize, man, it hasn't been fed? It hasn't had blood since the 18th of September, when Wilbur Whately came here to die. We left for Dunwich that night, and we've been here on Sentinel Hill ever since, working desperately to discover the formula in time. But a week ago tonight, shortly after dawn... Yeah, hello?
Dr. Armitage, this is Lem Brown. I was just up beyond the glen, Doctor, looking for cows I lost last night.
Yes, Lem?
Well, Doctor, something's been there. Smells like thunder, and there's prints in the road. Great round prints, big as barrel heads, like a elephant has been along.
Anything else, Lem?
That's all I see. Except bushes and trees pushed back from the road like a house was drug along.
Did you hear anything?
Yes, long toward morning, I heard a sound over toward Whately's place, a kind of ripping or tearing of wood, like a big box was being opened up. Chancey, you heard it too.
Lem, who lives nearest the Whately farm?
Why, that'd be Elmer Fry's place.
Oh, he's on this line too, isn't he? Hang on and I'll ring him.
Yes, Dr. Armitage, this is Central.
I'm trying to get Elmer Fry, Central.
Doctor, he must be out somewheres, and his whole family. I was ringing there an hour ago. Earl Sawyer saw Elmer's cows stampeding in Cold Spring Glen.
Oh, you didn't get him, hmm? All right. But if you hear or see anything more, let me know. I'll be here working all day. Rice! Oh, wake up. It's loose. It's out of the house. One family gone already. We have to work. Pray God we find that formula in time. A week since it broke loose. A week of terror and panic here in Dunwich Township. Each night it moves about the countryside, leaving the trees crushed in a 30-foot swathe, as though by a moving mountain, leaving its monstrous tracks on a trail of tarry stickiness, leaving crushed and gutted farmhouses and whole herds of cattle drained of blood. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is the story to this moment. And tonight is Halloween. Tonight we are here to... Just one moment, please. Dr. Rice, did you hear something?
With the window closed, no.
We'll throw it open. I thought so. Listen. A sound from 1,000 bending trees. A sound like the sea moving across a forest. Yes. Yes, it's coming here, of course. All Hallows, it comes to Sentinel Hill. Dr. Rice, I'll try the formula and the powder from the altar stone. I want you to stay here at the microphone and report what you see.
Very well, Dr. Armitage.
Oh, wait a minute before I go. To any scientists who may be listening to me, if I fail, there is a possible alternative formula in Falconer's mystical formulae of the Middle Ages on page 24. Listen. Well, there are the whippoorwills. I better get out there. Take over, Dr. Rice.
Yes. I'll do as well as I can, Armitage. Good luck. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Armitage is climbing to the top of the hill, to the altar stone. I can see him plainly, for the moon is high and the night clear. Down the hill, toward the dark village, I can see the grasses and shrubbery bending down, marking the monster's ascent. It moves quite fast, and I feel a proximity to phases of being utterly forbidden. Now, Dr. Armitage stands now on the altar stone and is holding the powder which, if the books are correct, will make this thing for an instant visible. It is quite close to him now, perhaps 20 yards or less. He lifts his hands. He flings the powder in a wide arc. I can see... Oh, no! No!
Dr. Rice. Come in, Dunwich. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your suspense announcer. Due to conditions... Oh, just a moment, please. One moment, please. Dr. Rice, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, for a moment I was overcome when I saw... Ladies and gentlemen, perhaps you can hear now the incantation of Dr. Armitage. Listen. The whippoorwills mean death. And Dr. Armitage is walking back here now. So we know that whatever it was, it is gone. It is dead. We can be thankful indeed. You see, I saw Dr. Armitage.
Yes. Did you see it, Dr. Rice?
I saw it large, yes.
What did it look like to you?
It looked
here.
Like something made of squirming ropes, but bigger than a barn and shaped, well, like an egg, and dozens of legs, like barrels that half closed when it stepped, and nothing solid about it, and at least 15 or 20 mouths or trunks opening and closing, but what was it?
Oh, a kind of force. A kind of force that doesn't belong in our part of space. Did you notice the half face on top?
Half face, like a human face.
Yes, very large, but yes, quite human. And quite like Wilbur's, like all the weightless.
Then it was...
That's right. It was Wilbur's twin brother. And you saw what 3 weeks' growth had done. And it was the child of Lavinia's who called its father's name on Sentinel Hill, as Wizard Whately prophesied. You heard it calling, Yog Sotho. Ladies and gentlemen, this night is over. It is All Saints' Day. May heaven bless us all.
Dunwich Horror, with Ronald Colman as your star of Suspense. This is the Armed Forces Radio Service.
It's intermission time at the Baba Ghoulie Show. Time to refresh yourself and visit our snack bar. Got a yen for some hot popcorn? How's about your favorite soft drinks, which are sparkling cold? And there's all kinds of candy to tempt you. It's radio time, folks. Enjoy the rest of the program. Hope you're enjoying today's radio program. When it's done, be sure to check out our channel over at Watchwaddle. Enjoy some tunes with a nice cold soda.
The Carter Coal Company and the dealers of Olga Coal present
The Mummers in the Little Theater of the Air.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, by now we're getting a bit used to winter. We're like soldiers in the middle of a campaign, growing hardened to discomfort and better able to take it, and looking with longing toward the day when the war is won and there'll be plenty of everything again, including that good Olga coal. But like good soldiers, we can't afford to let down now that victory is in sight. We must work harder than ever to get every bit of heat from the coal we get, make it go further and use less. We must figuratively tighten the belts on our coal bins and wade into Old Man Winter with a little less fuel and a little more heat from every ton. That can help make Hitler's ghost walk, which brings me to the Hermit, who's ready with a ghost story for you right now.
Ghost stories. Weird stories. And murders, too. The Hermit knows of them all. Turn out your lights. Turn them out. Have you heard the story of Hanson's ghost? Then listen while the Hermit tells you the story.
I'm glad that you two people came to me to talk this matter over.
Well, we're glad, Dr. Thorndyke, that there is someone we can talk with before we go to see Uncle Hanson.
I'm really all against going up to his old house. Marion feels it's because it was her father's last request before he died that she see him. Well, we decided to make the trip.
I understand.
We might as well tell Dr. Thorndyke the truth, Douglas. My father also said that Uncle Hanson has a great deal of money. He felt that it should be left to Douglas and me.
You were the only rightful heir.
Dad said that if Uncle Hanson knew us, got acquainted with us, he might come to his senses and leave some of it to us.
You make it sound awfully mercenary, Mary.
Well, it should belong to me. Uncle Hanson cheated my father out of part of the estate.
Yes, I remember. You see, Mr. Randall, your wife's uncle and I went to medical school together.
So Marion told me.
Then, when we planned to leave New York and come to see him, I thought it best that we write to you first and find out about Uncle Hanson.
I'm glad you did.
Marion wrote to her uncle and never heard from him.
I'm not surprised.
So, here we are in Warhawk. And, Dr. Thorndyke, you said in your letter that Uncle Hanson was very queer, that you wouldn't advise us to stay at his house.
True.
So, before we go there, Douglas thought you should explain to us.
Just what is wrong with him, Dr. Thorndyke?
Well, first of all, no one in Wohawk ever goes to see him. Second, he lives in an old, bleak house that in itself has a grim past. Now, you may think I'm the one who is queer when I tell you this, but there is scarcely a person here who doesn't believe that the house is haunted.
Some old superstition,
Yes. But as far as I can see, it must have some truth to it.
And Uncle Hanson lives there all alone?
No. An old servant, a shy, crafty, almost demented-looking fellow lives there with him. I don't want to frighten you unnecessarily, but 2 years ago, I made a visit at the old house.
You saw Uncle Hanson?
Yes, at his request. You see, while your uncle and I were studying in medical school together, he had begun to show signs of strangeness.
Yes?
He was experimenting with a strange theory. He believed that he could recall from the dead the soul of some individual, and that the soul he recalled could return to the body of some person living in the present.
Merciful heavens.
Terrible, isn't it?
The man must have been crazy then.
Oh, he was very serious about it.
But why work on such an inhuman theory?
Because he felt that to return a soul from the dead was the only way of perpetuating life. If he could recall from the dead a soul that had passed beyond before its time, and could get it to live in another body, then the person could go on living.
Preposterous.
He claimed that someday he would prove it. He claimed that he himself would never die, for he would get some dead soul to occupy his body. And this way he might retain perpetual life.
It's all pretty awful and muddled.
To think that such a crazy man was my father's brother.
As I started to tell you, 2 years ago, his old servant brought me a letter asking me to come that particular evening and see Dr. Hanson. I drove over to his house that night, walked to the door, rang the bell.
Yes?
It's Dr. Thorndyke.
I see. Come in.
Keep it dark in here. I can't see where I'm going.
The doctor needs it dark for his work. We don't care for the light.
Will you tell Dr. Hanson that I'm here?
He expects you. You can follow me up these stairs.
All right. Can we have a light to see by?
Your eyes will grow accustomed to the darkness like mine do.
What was that sound?
Did you hear it?
I only heard it, but I felt as if some icy hand had reached out and touched my face, almost clawed at me. There. I felt it again. Something touched my face again.
Come in.
Hello, Philip.
So you came, Thorndyke?
Yes.
I sent for you to prove my theory to you, Dr. Thorndyke.
Yes, Philip?
And don't look at me as if you thought I was demented. I'm not crazy.
I never thought you were demented. Only obsessed.
Dr. Thorndyke was visited by one of the wandering spirits on the way upstairs.
Really?
Something cold brushed against my face, if that's what you mean.
The spirits that roam this house were trying to be kind to you. Trying to get into your body. Trying to give you new life. You're lucky.
So, you're still working on that old theory, are you?
Working? I have it practically complete.
Now listen, Philip, if this is what you called me over tonight for, I can't stay and listen. I have calls to make.
You always scoffed at me, didn't you? Never believed I could do it.
Why would you want to do it, Philip?
I have found a young soul that died too soon. The spirit of a man who was stabbed by his own wife.
What do you mean?
In this very house. Yes, he lived here. We know. Don't we know, Thread?
Yes, we know.
A young man who was stabbed by his wife. She went to prison for it.
I remember the story.
But about the spirit of that man, I'm able to recall. You did not know.
Philip, this is nonsense.
I'm about ready to call that spirit forth and get it to take abode in my body.
Philip Hanson, I won't stay here and listen to such balderdash.
You know what it will mean to me? I shall never die. Never. For once I've recalled one spirit to come and live in my body, I can recall others.
I'm leaving.
Wait, not yet. I shall never die. I shall have years and years to use my money. No one will be able to take it from me. It shall be mine for years to come, long after you are dead.
I have no desire to live beyond my time, Philip.
But I have.
I'm going.
Now, wait. I shall show you my experiment. Then you can go if you wish.
What do you have cooking in that kettle? And in these test tubes?
The essence of spirits. Turn down all the lights, Thrill.
Yes, sir.
Now I shall pass my body through the fumes coming from the steaming kettle. I shall put the fumes all about myself. Watch, and to make no sound. Now.
There is something moving there in the darkness. I see it.
Quiet.
Where's the door? Let me out of here. I shan't stay another minute. Let me out of here. Get away from me, whatever you are. Get away. Where's the door? I've got to get away. Got to get away. Get away from here. Get away. Away!
Thorndyke flees from the house, frightened by the strange, weird things he has seen. Is it true that Dr. Hanson is able to make a dead spirit return? Or is it something he and his demented servant has conjured up to frighten people away? The hermit will tell you before the night is done.
Well, when it comes to frightening people, I'm not very good, but I'm a whiz at encouraging them, and that's what I hope I've done for you. I hope I've encouraged you to be better soldiers on the home front with these little lectures on how to save Olga coal and to cooperate with your friend, the Olga coal dealer. Suppose we look at the situation this way. We'd all like to do more to help win the war, so suppose we imagine we're all soldiers and the Olga coal dealer is the supply sergeant. Well, he's in it along with the rest of us, and he can't give out any more coal than he gets. All he wants to do is equip your coal bin to the best of his ability, and that's what he's doing. He gets gripes from every side, but he's delivering the coal as fast as he gets it, and he's trying to do so in a way that gives everyone his fair share. So don't be too hard on your Olga sergeant, folks. I know none of you envy him, and I know he wants to keep on serving you after the war is won in the manner to which you once were accustomed. So as you sit with your sweaters on and look at that thinly lined coal bin, think of the day when it will all be over. And you can once more take phone in hand and say, I want a whole bin full of that good Olga coal. That's right, the kind spelled O-L-G-A. Well, come on in, Hermit. You haven't even been here, and we've been telling ourselves stories.
And now to Marion and Randall. Dr. Thorndyke of the town of Ohog goes on telling the story of Marion's strange Uncle Hanson. Yeah, listen.
I'm sure I ran out of that house yelling, I've got to get away.
Oh, how horrible.
The man is positively crazy.
That's what I thought. But he did conjure up something. I saw it.
It's unbelievable.
I know it is. That's why I hated to tell the authorities. But I finally did ask them to go up there and investigate.
What did they say?
They saw him in the afternoon. They said he was sitting downstairs reading and acted perfectly normal.
What do you think?
So they reported that he was perfectly harmless. Merely a wealthy, eccentric old man who makes a study of dead spirits.
Why didn't you ever write my father of your visit?
You can see how impossible it sounds?
Yes, of course.
The more I thought about it, the more like a bad dream it seemed to be. I began to feel as if I was the crazy one.
Dr. Thorndyke, have you seen my uncle since?
No, not since.
Do you think he would harm us, Doctor?
No, I think his mind is weak, but I think he's harmless.
If we went to see him in the daytime, there'd be no danger, would there?
I don't think so. But I thought you ought to know my story first.
Marion, you don't want to go up to the house after hearing Dr. Thorndyke's story.
If Dr. Thorndyke thinks he's harmless, then to pay him a visit wouldn't be dangerous.
It's up to you, Marion.
I think we'll go. Tomorrow. And thank you, Dr. Thorndyke, for telling us your story.
Perhaps it's all over now. It may be it was only shadows. Natural shadows and natural sounds that I heard and saw in that old house. Yet it was such a weird experience. I shall never forget it.
Are you nearly ready to go down to dinner, Douglas?
Yes, dear. Just fixing my tie.
You know, the more I think about it, the more it seems as if it's Dr. Thorndyke who's demanded it.
I know it.
We've been visiting here 3 days at Uncle Hanson's, and I haven't seen him do one strange thing.
Only this creaky old house gives me the jitters in the night.
Oh, it's like all old houses.
I could have sworn someone opened our door in the night and crept in.
It's the story Thorndyke told. We're too much on our guard. Everything has a double meaning to us now.
Maybe you're right.
Sure I am. And Uncle Hanson has been awfully kind to us, and so pleased to see us.
Uh-huh.
Even this old servant of his isn't bad. He's been kind, too.
He cooks good meals for an old duffer, doesn't he?
Yes. And do you know what he said to me, Douglas?
What?
Well, he told me yesterday that Uncle Hanson was so glad we came to see him. So glad that you and I were sensible.
Uh-huh.
And that now he could die peacefully, knowing that we wouldn't waste his money for him.
Well, it's all turning out better than I anticipated.
Huh? You ready to go down to dinner?
Already.
He still works in his laboratory long hours, doesn't he?
Yes.
I asked him last night to let me see it, and he said perhaps he might tonight.
Why do you want to go up there?
Oh, just to see what he does. You can see that he's completely forgotten trying to restore dead spirits. I'm not afraid of him, honey.
I guess you're right.
So I just want to see what he does do up there in that room. Maybe we can tonight.
Listen. What was that? Marion, wake up. I thought I heard our door creak open.
What, Douglas?
Sure as anything, I thought I heard our door creak open.
I was asleep. I didn't hear anything.
If there were only electric lights in this house. Where's that darn candle?
There was one on the bedside table.
I can't find a thing groping around in this dark.
You've got yourself upset from visiting Uncle's laboratory. But he did have the most queer-looking gadgets up there, didn't he?
Yes. Now, if I can only find a match. Darn it. Where did that wind come from? It blew the light right out.
Oh, why don't you forget it? You just heard some board creak. There isn't anything in here.
Darn funny creaks.
It's strange how you're more upset than I am.
I'd just as soon move out any time, I can tell you.
I'm not frightened anymore. Good night, dear.
Good night. Now, what was that sound? Marion. Something cold passed over my throat. Marion.
Douglas, what is it?
Get away from me. Marion.
Douglas. There's something standing right over you. I can see it. Douglas. Oh, help!
Help!
Don't move. This won't take long.
It's Thrail. Thrail, what are you doing? Get away. Get away from here.
Leave me alone if you know what's good for you.
Get out of our room. I'm going to call my uncle.
Get his hands off my throat. Get them off my throat. Help!
Uncle Hanson, help! Help!
Let go. Let go of me.
Hey, stop!
We won't need the dead spirit of Mr. Randall. The other one has come back.
The other one has come back?
Yes. Come, all of you, to my laboratory. I captured the spirit trail as it wandered about the house tonight. It's hidden in my laboratory.
That is good.
If my experiment works, Thrail, then it may be we can get a young spirit for you. Then you can live on, too.
Oh, Douglas.
Now, all is dark in here. Very dark. Only the fumes from my kettle. That is all.
If anyone speaks and frightens the spirit away, we'll make away with him.
Oh, Douglas, they're both crazy.
Quiet, both of you. So you thought you could get my money, did you? You thought I was going to die. No, I shall live many, many years.
Here's the kettle, Doctor.
Yes. And now the dagger that we found in this house. The dagger that was used to kill the dead spirit lurking in this room. Bring it to me. I'll stir the kettle with it.
Here it is, Doctor.
Yes. Now all very quiet, very dark, very still. And the fumes are rising. See, they cover me. Now, spirit, dead soul, wherever you are, come out. Come out. Spirit is here. Can you hear his voice? It's getting lighter. Can you see?
Look. Over there. A shadow is taking form. Look.
There is some light. It is approaching me. Look. It is coming near me.
Yes, I'm coming closer. Closer.
I see him. Look.
It's going right up to Uncle Hanson.
You wanted to call me back. Well, I am here. And I shall enter your body. Just as you wish.
Dr. Hanson. I'm disappearing.
Merciful heavens. What's happening? Look, see. Before you stands another man. He's done it. He's no longer Dr. Hanson. The spirit has entered his body.
I'm back again. See this dagger in my hand. I'm back again. So you thought my wife killed me long ago, did you? Well, she didn't. I killed myself.
Look.
I tried to kill her just as I'm going to kill you, Thrail.
No.
Yes, just as I'm going to kill you now.
Have mercy. Dr. Hanson, come back. Take the spirit out of your body. He's going to kill me. Help! Help!
You wanted to bring me back, didn't you?
Save me. Save me. Help!
Mary,
Help!
don't move. Stand right where we are. I'll see if I can save him.
Help there, pity.
Thrail,
Help.
here, this way. Here.
Oh.
Now, stand back with me, out of the way.
Look.
I couldn't kill my wife long years ago, and I can't kill you. But I can kill myself again. Yes.
What is he doing?
You brought me back into your body, Dr. Hanson, only so that I might kill myself again. Now the dagger through my heart.
He's killed himself.
Here, let me light a candle so that I can see. Where's the candle?
Here, Douglas.
There.
Oh, it's Uncle Hanson. Look, he's on the floor, dead. The dagger through his heart.
Yes, the spirit returned and did the same act that it did when it was living. We didn't count on that.
But, Douglas, it's only Uncle Hanson here. He's killed himself, and he tried to kill his servant.
But we did hear another voice, didn't we?
Of course you did. It was the spirit that wanders this house. And that Dr. Hanson tried to get into his own body.
Oh, it's so terrible.
But it didn't work. It didn't work like he thought. The spirit came back and did the same deed all over.
Dr. Hanson wanted it to, and entered his body. But it killed, just as it had when it was on Earth before. Yes. Turn on your lights. Turn them on.
You have just listened to the 406th story by the Hermit, made possible through the courtesy of the Carter Coal Company, producer of Olga Coal, and your friend, the Olga Coal dealer. That word friend is full of meaning for you these days. The dictionary defines it as one who entertains for another such sentiments of esteem, respect, and affection that he seeks his society and welfare. Now, isn't that just about a perfect definition of the man who looks after your coal needs? I don't really have to tell you that you can trust your Olga dealer to look out for your interests. You know he appreciates your patronage and wants to keep you on his side. Sure, I know nowadays he can't always give you as much coal as you'd like, as promptly as you'd like it. He can't always even give you the kind of coal you'd like or the size you'd prefer. But you can count on him to do his best. In these war days, that's all anyone can do. So don't shop around for coal. That does no good, just causes a lot of confusion. And above all, don't get panicky about deliveries. After all, these shortages are never as bad as you think they'll be. You're still eating and wearing shoes and clothing, aren't you, in spite of what you've heard? Well, the chances are you'll not freeze either. And remember the reason for all the shortages. What you don't get is going to help those boys of yours and ours at the fighting fronts. By saving every bit of coal you can, you're doing your part on the home front. And remember, when you do order coal, ask for Olga Coal, spelled O-L-G-A, by name. Olga Coal is a good buy because of its smokeless, dustless, economical qualities, so keep on asking for it. And keep on buying war stamps and bonds till it hurts the enemy so badly he'll throw up his hands and surrender. Buying war stamps and bonds is one way that everyone can help win the war, regardless of age, health, means, or occupation. Every penny you citizens of the United States and Canada put into war stamps and bonds weighs the balance that much further in our favor against the Japs and Nazis. Buy war stamps and bonds, and don't stop until the enemy gives up.
stories for you. Listen in again next week for my hounds howling. I'll tell you the story of the devil dog. I'll be back. Pleasant dreams.
All characters, places, and occurrences mentioned in the Hermit's Cave are fictitious, and similarity to persons, places, or occurrences is purely accidental. Jack Lellman speaking.
Hope you're enjoying today's radio program. When it's done, be sure to check out our channel over at Watchwaddle. Enjoy some tunes with a nice cold soda.
Tired of the everyday routine? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. Escape, brought to you by your Richfield gasoline dealer and the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York. Marketers of Richfield gasolines with xylene, Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, and other famous petroleum products. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps.
Tonight, we escape to the jungles of South America and a seething tale of terror and violence as told by James Poe in Bloodbath, starring Mr. Vincent Price.
By portaging the rapids and walking the mules in the shallower stretches, we'd managed to get our supplies and equipment more than 1,700 miles up the river. After this, further navigable passage being impossible, we'd traveled by foot, hacking our way through the thick, steaming jungle, coaxing and goading the heavily laden beasts. We'd left the jungle and begun the climb. 11 days later, high in the Andes, we found our objective, and we set to work, hard work. And then, on a hazy afternoon in late May, we found it. I shall never forget the scene. Below us, the mountains swung down to the jungle which stretched eastward, far as the eye could see. The peaks above us had cut off the setting sun, and the light had a curious violet quality. The dank, chill wind, whispering and gusting, set the sparse timber scrubs to trembling and shuddering, and the mules, disdainful of their 5 strange masters, foraged the cacti and dwarf pine. The instruments were set up and the specimens were at hand, and now, crouched and tense, we leaned forward.
How about it, Hess?
Wait. The tube's got to warm up. Come on, come on.
Wait, will you?
I've waited 5 years for this moment.
500, you mean? 5 million. Come on, Hesse.
How about it, Hess?
Okay. Give him the sample, O'Brien.
Yeah, here. Come on, baby.
Shut up, will you? Shh. Here goes. Switch on. Holy cow. Good. Good. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah?
Come on, Hesse. What's the word?
Yeah, Hesse, give him.
Gentlemen. Unless this machine is busted, unless this Geiger counter has forgotten its multiplication table, we have discovered the richest lode of uranium ore known to man.
Yahoo!
Turn it out! Come on, boy! I won't go into the details of how we'd come to locate the ore because that's a story in itself. Suffice it to say that late in the afternoon of that hazy May day, the 5 of us, gamblers all, came to the end of our rainbow, found our pot of gold.
The vein runs all the way up the side of the mountain.
Must be worth $1 million.
$1 million, $1 billion.
$1 trillion. Do you boys realize what we've got here?
Sure we do.
We've got the world at our feet. Why, the man who gets the strike registered in his name can be a king. Every country in the world is going to come running up to him with trunks full of money and power.
Ah, you tell him, Hesse.
Power? Yeah, we'll make the United States the most powerful nation on earth. Why the United States? Oh, you wouldn't sell to anybody else, would you? I'm a businessman, Harris. You're a fool. No, I'm a businessman. $1 trillion. Oh, gents, we've got the world at our feet. Split 5 ways. The world at our feet, split 5 ways. That night, as I lay huddled under my thin blanket, I wondered what it would be like, being a wealthy man. Wondered if it were really true. Wondered how it would affect the others, how it would affect me. In the morning, we were to set off on the long return journey down to the jungle and through the jungle to the launch and down the river to civilization. There, we'd register our claim, purchase, if need be, the land, lease it perhaps from the government. Oh, millionaires, world at our feet. Uranium, enough to blow up the whole universe. Power. Harris, wake up. What's wake up, Harris, wake up. Oh, good morning, millionaire. Weems, wake up. The sun's coming up. Hey, where are the others? They've gone. Gone? Yes, Dumont and O'Brien. They took the mules and most of the food and cut out. When? How do I know when? Sometime during the night. But why? Why? $1 trillion, that's why. Oh, no. Once they get down to the jungle, they'll have to travel on foot. There's 10 days' march to the river. If they beat us to the boat, we're stuck with 1,500 miles of jungle between us and safety. 50? Impossible. We'd never make 100. That's right. We've got to catch 'em, or we're dead. We traveled as lightly as possible. It was a risky business, doubly so because O'Brien and Dumont had taken our guns with them. The only weapons we had between us were 1 long machete and 2 pocket knives. These would be of little protection against jaguars, bushmasters, tapirs, boa constrictors, and the rest of it. Fortunately, they'd left our number 1 necessity to survival. They'd forgotten to take our quinine. This and our food was all we carried. The long descent to the jungle was slow going on foot. It was here that we nearly gave up hope. We moved as fast as we could, but we were no match for men who were riding. But we reached the jungle. Then things took a better turn. Here, the thick vines and heavy undergrowth was, we knew, almost an impossible hazard for a riding man. And we could see their boot prints mingled with those of the mules. We knew that they were having trouble, too. The animals were afraid of many things in the jungle, would balk suddenly, require careful handling. We pushed ahead as rapidly as possible, battling mosquitoes, pume flies, matucas, and the blood-sucking carpato ticks, and, of course, the jungle itself with its never-ending barrage of razor grasses, needle vines, swamps, bog traps, and so forth. It was hot, stinking hot, and The going was hard, but we had to make it. We couldn't travel at night. They'd taken our flashlights. We'd bundle up as best we could, protecting ourselves not from the cold. It was hot and muggy even at dawn, but from the mosquitoes. And as we progressed towards the river area, from the bats. Vampire bats. Ever seen them? They're small, rather fragile-looking little things. By day they hang, heads down from the trees, wings folded like clusters of rotten fruit. By night, they hunt. They have razor-sharp teeth, bite like the finest steel scalpels. Their object is to break the skin very delicately, start the blood to coming, and then they simply hang on and sip. Without mosquito netting, we had a rough time of it, a sleepless time. But we managed to keep on going. And on the third day...
It's no use, fellas. We can't make it to the river before them. We've got to, Weemsy. We've got to make it.
He's right, Weems.
And even if we do catch up, they got the guns.
Shh.
Huh? What are you stopping?
Quiet. I heard something.
What did you hear?
Shh.
Gunfire.
Yeah. Come on. They can't be more than a mile or two ahead. Come on.
We ran through the jungle, following the fresh marks of the animals and the two men. And a half an hour or so later, we broke into a little clearing, and there was Dumont.
Dumont.
He's dead.
Shot in the back.
Good old Obie.
Sweet guy, that Obie.
Here, come on. Let's turn him over.
He's really been sweating, huh?
Yeah.
It's malaria. You see his face?
Good old Obie.
And Dumont came down with malaria, probably started to slow him down.
Sweet guy, that Obie.
Come on, let's go.
Hey, they should have remembered the quinine.
I got no sympathy for Dumont.
You know what'd be nice?
What?
If that Obie should get malaria now.
Yeah. He'd be helpless.
He'd ask me for quinine. I'd throw him a stone.
On we went. Now there were no boot marks with the mule tracks. Apparently O'Brien was riding one of the animals. From time to time we'd see a flurry of tracks churned up as though he had had to dismount to tug one of the beasts back onto the trail. We followed the tracks for another 2 days, and then on the 6th day, we found one of the mules.
How you feeling, boy? Huh? Where's your saddle?
He really looks beat. Look at those marks on his flanks.
Vampire bats.
Yeah.
That leaves O'Brien on foot.
Yeah.
Hey, you hear that?
Hey, it's the launch. We're to the river. He's starting the motor. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't very far, just a few hundred yards, and the path was strewn with O'Brien's discarded supplies. Quite suddenly, we came out of the jungle and onto a narrow white sandbar. The river. And there, not 30 feet away from us, just drifting off into the deep, dark, fast-moving waters, was O'Brien in the launch. O'Brien!
Look at him. He's like a skeleton.
Obie! Wait for us, Obie!
The launch lurched dizzily as it floated downstream. O'Brien was feeble, sweating, possessed. He had the fever, had it bad.
Come on, let's go after him.
You can't. This is piranha water.
Cannibal fish. They'll eat you.
Yeah.
Hey, Obie! Hey, you know me, Obie! Your old pal Hesse! Hey, what do you say, Obie, huh? Huh?
He staggered dizzily about the cockpit, trying to start the engine. He was laughing, and he was so weak that he could barely spin the flywheel to the kicker.
Obie!
He slipped!
Ah! Good Lord, he's in the water!
The fish, the piranhas!
Oh, they got him! They got him!
I ain't gonna look at this!
One moment we saw him swimming weakly, his large, fever-ridden eyes turned imploringly toward us, and the next moment he was gone, leaving only a large red churning patch on the water. The piranhas are small, rarely more than 12 or 14 inches long, small fish with large, powerful jaws, teeth like broken glass. and an insatiable, maniacal appetite for flesh. The launch, caught by the deep, fast-moving waters, rocked softly this way and that and moved on downstream. Away. Away around a bend and out of sight.
The march of science over the years has produced better than ever gasoline for your car. But now science adds one of the greatest gasoline components of all. It's called xylene. Xylene, a super gasoline component, adds two great qualities to gasoline. Xylene gives higher than ever anti-knock performance. Xylene means power. Today, every gallon of Richfield gasoline contains xylene. If you want a motor that runs quiet as a whisper, if you want pickup and power to spare, try Richfield gasoline with xylene. Your Richfield dealer offers a choice of two great Richfield gasolines with xylene. Richfield High Octane at regular price for the average motor, or Richfield Ethyl. Ethyl at its best for tip-top results in the highest compression motors. Drive in where you see the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Get Richfield gasoline with xylene. Xylene, one of the highest anti-knock components in gasoline history. And now we return you to Escape, starring Vincent Price.
We picked over the supplies O'Brien had left on the shore. There wasn't much we wanted. A gun without ammunition, a few tins of food, a tent and some bedding, cooking equipment, a coil of rope. We loaded these things onto the mule and set off through the jungle, downstream along the river's course. 1,500 miles to civilization. We had it tough. The jungle was thick along the river's bank, and we made little progress. Not more than 5 miles that day, but the next day, we rounded a bend, keeping close to the shore, and there, about a quarter mile below us and nuzzling the opposite shore, grounded on the sand, lay the launch.
Looks shallow enough here.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but what about the fish?
How deep does it look to you, Harris, at the deepest spot, I mean?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 2.5 feet, maybe 3.
Most of it's less than that.
I got an idea.
Shoot.
We got to get across the launch, see? So here's what we do. We throw away everything. There'll be food and water on the launch, see?
Yeah?
Now, you see that little patch of sand in the middle of the river where the bar shows?
Yeah.
We go that way. That's bound to be the shallowest way, see?
How do we go?
On the mule, the three of us.
Ah, you're nuts.
This mule ain't in such bad condition it can't get the three of us across 70 feet of shallow water.
What do you say, Harris?
Why not?
All right, I'll get aboard first. Come on.
Get farther up, Weemsy. You're the lightest.
Yeah.
Harris, you get on next. Hang on to Weemsy. Here. Carry this coil of rope around your neck. We may need it. I've got the machete strapped to my back.
Hey, you set, Weems?
Yeah.
Now hold tight to me, Hess.
Don't worry. If I go, you go too.
Yeah, and if he goes, I go.
So let's hang on, gents. Yeah. Let's really hang on.
As long as he's moving fast, he can't get at his legs. Ain't that right?
He's not showing anything to him but hoofs and hair.
Hold his head up, Weems. Don't let him look down.
Now, you all set?
Yeah.
All set.
All right, here we go. All right, get off. Come on.
Come on, baby.
I felt the mule lurch when he stepped into the water. The sand was softer here than on the shore.
Sand, huh?
Ahead, not 40 feet away, lay the little spit of land. The mule refused to run, couldn't run, and before he'd taken 10 steps, I knew he was too weak to support the three of us. From every direction in the swirling water about us came small, shadowy, dark shapes. The piranhas.
Don't stop!
Come on, baby. Keep moving, baby. Come on. Move along, baby.
He can't do it.
You gotta do it, baby.
Come on.
Sweet mother. What are those?
The piranhas were churning the water about us, and coming in from beyond them were 4 or 5 long, dark shapes, 6 and 7 feet long, thick and wriggling.
Eels, electric eels.
They'll sting him. Get along to the bar.
Get him to the sandbar.
Faster. Come on.
Made it.
It's true about electric eels. They can throw a jolt that'll kill a jaguar. They got jaws like a vice.
So,
here we are, gentlemen, stuck. Just 30 feet of water between us and the shore. Get across it, and we can get to the launch and to civilization and all the rest
Oh,
of
the three of us are too much for that mule.
Only 30 feet. Why, you could run it in seconds.
You see those little shadows around us in the water?
I see those little shadows around us. You don't have to draw pictures.
Hey.
Oh, here's another bright idea coming up.
As a matter of fact, yeah.
Yeah, hold on to your hat, Harris.
We got that coil of rope.
Yes.
The mule could carry one of us. That mule's not in such bad shape, you know.
Yes.
Tie the rope over his bridle. Then one of us pulls him over with him fast, you see. One rides, and then the other two pull him back.
Yeah?
And the next one gets on.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Oh, he can't stay here.
It's a natural.
Who goes first?
Me, on account I'm the lightest. I won't tire him so much.
How about it, Harris?
All right.
Well, get going then.
Okay. Tie that rope to his bridle.
I'm doing it.
All right, give me the machete.
What do you want the machete for?
I want it, that's all. Give me.
No. Okay.
All right,
Here.
now you two get at the end of the spit. So as when you pay out the line, you don't get it caught in his legs.
Well, you think of everything.
That's right. I'm a smart boy.
Ready with the line.
You sure it's tied fast to the bridle?
Yeah, I'm sure.
No funny business, Weems. All we gotta do is jerk this rope once while you're over that water and you're done for.
You're a sharp article.
Yeah, that's right.
But not sharp enough.
Hey, Weems, you cut the rope!
So long, suckers!
The rope. Our only salvation was cut. And now Weems, grinning and riding, was out into the stream, heading for the shore and safe. He went not 15 feet when one of the long, dark, wriggling shapes made for the mule and got his leg. The mule reared up on his hind legs, the eel clinging to his foot, pumping paralyzing shocks into him. Weems clutched his neck with one hand and slapped him on the flank with the flat of the machete with the other. The mule came down, and more eels went for his legs. He began to lurch sideways. Weems swung the long steel blade in an arc, barely missing the mule's leg, and connected with one of the eels. His hair seemed to stand on end. His other arm released the mule's neck. The arm holding the blade was extended stiffly, still caught in the thick, muscular back of the electric eel. And then the mule reared again, and Weems fell back into the water. The mule, freed of Weems, made the shore and vanished into the jungle. We turned away. No man could watch what was happening to Weems and retain his sanity. And so, there we were, Hess and I, on that sand spit which the river was slowly washing away. Night coming, vampire bats coming, and all about us, the electric eels and the little cannibal fish waiting. There was no moon. There were evil stars, red and yellow. There was a black sky, and against it blacker shapes, the vampire bats. We waved our arms and kept them off, but again and again during that long and terrible night, they brushed against us, squealing and squeaking, trying to get us. Dark, evil, thirsting bats. A 1,000 years later came the dawn.
That water's taken a lot of sand away. This thing isn't much bigger than a card table. Look at them. Look at those fish. You'd think they had enough to eat yesterday. Listen, Harris. No matter what happens now, at least you and I have played it square, right?
Yeah, that's right, Hess.
Shake my hand, Harris.
All right.
Because I think I got an idea on how we can get out of here.
What?
Yeah. Look up there.
Yeah.
See that vine hanging down from the big tree?
It's over the water, and it must be 15 feet up.
Yeah, but if you were on it, you could do a Tarzan to the shore.
The rope?
That's right. Now, if we can just lasso the end of that and pull tight, we'll have enough swing to make it across. Swing like a pendulum, if you follow me. One guy gets on the other's shoulders to swing over to get the start, see? Then when he gets to shore, he fastens a rock and swings the rope back to the other.
That vine will hold. It'll work. It took us 2 hours before we managed to lasso the end of that vine. And then we tested it again and again until we were positive it would hold a man's weight. And then we were ready.
You stand good and steady now, pal. I'm going to go easy on you, but don't shake. Because if you spill me in that water, I'm a gone guy.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Good luck.
Here.
I felt his feet leave my shoulders, and then he was off, skimming the water with his feet drawn up, and then, miraculously, he was on the shore. Good boy! Good boy!
Yeah!
Like a breeze, huh?
Like a breeze.
Hey, any rocks around there?
Sorry.
He smiled at me and shrugged, and then looked down the stream at the launch. I knew that smile, that $1 trillion smile. It said, "So long, sucker." Don't do it, Hess. Send me the rope.
You're too nice a guy, Harris. You and I would never get along.
You can have it all, Hess. Every scrap of it. Only for the love of mercy, send me the rope.
No, you'd want some. You wouldn't approve of what I mean to do with it.
Hess! He stood there laughing at me and shaking his head slowly. But above him, just over his head, was another vine, thick and mottled, and it was moving. Look out, Hess! Hess! He didn't understand or didn't hear me. Just stood there smiling and shaking his head. The boa constrictor dropped heavily and accurately, a thrashing tangle of scaly muscles. The sun was hot, blistering hot. I was alone, all alone, except for the ever-waiting piranhas. Hess's body was hidden by the low, scrubby vines and palmettos. Several hours later, I saw the boa, now gorged, slither lumpily away. I waited, and I waited. From time to time, I thought of stepping out into the stream. It would be over very quickly, I told myself, very quickly. But I couldn't. And then I noticed an odd thing. The current which had been sweeping the sand away had shifted slightly. A whim, a miracle. And now new sand from some sunken bar was beginning to pile up between me and the shore, grain by grain, rib by rib. I watched this. And I watched. And I watched. And at 5 o'clock that afternoon, I walked ashore to the lawn. And didn't even get my feet wet. It's nice where I live. Quiet little streets, nice people, nice kids, nice country. Peaceful, nice peace. I know where there's enough uranium to blow it all to hell. Want it? Just go up the river. Up the river, it's for the taking. Ask Dumont and Obie and Weems and Hess. $1 trillion worth. Enough to give the whole world a bloodbath. Yourself included.
Warm summer weather makes you think of baseball games, picnics, and holiday driving. But be sure your car's ready when you are. Get Richfield All-Point Safety Service, the service that puts your car in top shape for warm weather driving. With Richfield All-Point Safety Service, you get a careful all-point lubrication job that protects the chassis, transmission, and differential. You get lubricants that stick to your car's ribs no matter what the temperature. You get the protection of Rich Lube, all-weather motor oil, the Pennsylvania premium-grade oil that cleans as it lubricates. You also get a safety check of batteries, spark plugs, tires, and radiator, and expert service if your car has automatic transmission. The Richfield gasoline dealer is specially trained to protect your car against wear and breakdown. So get Richfield all-point safety service tomorrow. Look for the Richfield Eagle on the cream and blue pumps. Escape is produced and directed by William N. Robeson, and tonight starred Mr. Vincent Price. Bloodbath was written by James Poe. Others in the cast were Wally Mayer, Ted DeCorsia, Paul Frees, and Tony Barrett. Special music arranged and played by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are groping your way slowly through the dark hold of a ship at sea, moving carefully, step by step, dreading to find what you know is there. Death in the form of a deadly bushmaster from which there is no escape.
Next week at this time, the Richfield Oil Corporation of New York invite you to escape to the Caribbean and a grim voyage of impending death, as Martin Storm tells it in his exciting tale, A Shipment of Mute Fate. Goodbye, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Tom Hanlon speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Halloween. We invite you to this year's Jack-o'-lantern festivities over at the Grover Cleveland Pumpkin Patch in Bergen County, New Jersey. Sponsored by the newest innovation of entertainment technology, the combination radio-television. Hear the best in radio shows. With, of course, a live viewing on your television screens.
Due to the issues in Watchwaddle's uploading, we now go to the emergency Watchwaddle broadcast.
Aliens have landed in New Jersey. Repeat, aliens have landed in New Jersey. Aliens are destroying everything! They're destroying New Jersey! You're next! This Watchwaddle emergency broadcast has been brought to you by OTR Halloween Holidays, your channel for vintage radio shows. Tune in for the classic episode of Suspense, 1948's In a Lonely Place, starring Robert Montgomery, airing in 2 nights, October 29th and 31st. It's sure to leave you in suspense. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Waddle the Duck here again. I'm in the center of town, and the creature has emerged from the woods with a tripod walker. He is rampaging through the town, and people are running for their lives. Oh, my God. Ladies and gentlemen, this could be the ending of civilization as we know it!
I'm for it!
We're all gonna die! What are you doing? Get out of here! These things are coming this way! Everybody out! Everybody out! Everybody down! Ladies and gentlemen, Waddle the Duck here, and I'm back at the Grover Cleveland Pumpkin Patch, and something is happening. The Martian war machines are heading back this way. We think it's trying to get back to its UFO, but something is wrong. It's almost as if... its shields are down! Its shields are down! Fire! It was stark and silent, dead, slain by the putrefactive and diseased bacteria against which its system was unprepared. Slain, after all of our devices failed, by the humblest thing God, in his wisdom, put upon this earth. You heard it here, folks. It got a cold. This is Waddle the Duck, signing off of the Watchwaddle Emergency Broadcast System, surviving yet another Halloween disaster. And that was our Jack-o'-lantern presentation.
Channel Watchwaddle and its affiliates would like to thank Channel OTR Halloween Holidays for their participation in this year's festivities. Please subscribe to them for the best of vintage radio shows. And please tune into their channel tomorrow for the conclusion of the classic 1948 episode of Suspense, In a Lonely Place, starring Robert Montgomery. It's sure to leave you in...
Suspense.
Torn out of its frame.
No, they're on the floor. Sylvia.
Good Lord. Her head twisted almost off, and her body looks as if every bone in it was broken.
Midnight, the witching hour, when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a moment in Death's Worshipper. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by J. Williams is a tale of fear from afar called Death's Worshipper. On the surface, it's a New York apartment like thousands of others, in a house with a brownstone front on a dark little street. But to Kate Bonney, living here with her brother Peter, it has become a prison cell, a place of menace, a house of terror.
I can't explain, Peter. It's as though I were caught in a spider's web, waiting helplessly while the spider comes closer.
But, Kate, you still haven't told me just exactly what's troubling you.
It's real, Peter. It's a feeling that Well, like in a nightmare when you know something awful is after you and you can't escape. It's drawing closer. It's coming here to this room to find me. What'll I do, Peter? What shall I do?
Please, Kate, pull yourself together. You've got to.
I'm sorry, Peter. I'll try.
Ah, that's better. Now then, let's have it. I can't come home every night to a sister who's afraid of the dark. What's it all about?
Do you remember the weekend I spent at Quentin's place in the country?
Just after he got back from India? Yes, of course.
You couldn't make it and I went alone.
The conference in Chicago, I remember. Reminds me, I wonder why I haven't heard from him since. Those letters he wrote about some discoveries he made.
Discoveries, don't mention them.
Why not?
Because I have an idea that they're behind everything that happened.
What do you mean?
He didn't even mention the expedition until after dinner that first night. There were just the three of us, Quentin, Sylvia, and myself. He went into quite a bit of detail describing his reasons for going, the long trip through the jungle.
Finally came to a little gond village and tackled what I was sure was the last belt of jungle. That last stretch took us 6 hours. At last we broke out into a clearing, and there it was, towering above us, the temple of Shiva the Destroyer.
Oh, that must have been a thrilling moment.
Thrilling? You can't possibly know what that meant to me.
I was just frightened.
Sylvia frightens rather easily.
That's not true, Quentin. It's just that it looked like some kind of crouching beast with a single devil's horn.
Rubbish. It was breathtaking, Kate. Imagine a great square block of stone set in a riot of jungle foliage. Out of it rises a tremendous three-cornered spire fully 100 feet high.
Oh, that must have been magnificent.
Yes, and the whole thing covered with a lace tracery of stone carving.
And this was what you had set out to find?
This was it. Oh. You see, the Hindu Trimurti, or Trinity, is composed of three deities. Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer.
Yes.
Well, in this tiny district in the hills, there had once been a local cult which worshipped only the destroyer. In a curious and perverted way.
Why?
Well, the worshippers became their god.
I don't understand.
When they prayed to Shiva, the god himself entered and took possession of them. They were Shiva, with all the powers and all the frightful energy of the god.
Good heavens.
No, not a very good heaven. For you see, the heaven of these worshippers was nothingness.
Nothingness?
Yes. For them, the ultimate goal of man was destruction. The merging of oneself into a kind of cosmic non-existence.
Now you can understand how I felt, Kate, when I first looked at that temple.
Yes.
I suppose that, yes, even a greater mind than yours, Sylvia, might well shrink before the majesty of a concept like that.
Well, I know I would have been frightened, too.
But India is a place where just such a concept would originate. Life means nothing there. Death flourishes in 1,000 forms. I climbed the spire of the temple and looked down over the sea of jungle to the brown river in the distance and the thread of smoke that marked the village. I was a midget, an ant, crawling over the surface of a giant's house. Shiva is the giant, and humanity, we're so insignificant, so worthless. I wonder if they weren't right after all, those worshippers of the destroyer.
Quentin.
Perhaps death, nothingness, is the greatest goal.
Stop it, Quentin. Stop it, do you hear?
Sylvia.
Oh, don't worry, Kate, and don't bother.
Oh, but I don't...
I'm all right. Now. Sorry, Kate. I think I'd better go to bed.
Yes, you're tired, Sylvia.
I am tired. These wild ideas of yours. Of all this talk about Shiva, destruction. I wish you'd get those thoughts out of your head, Quentin. You haven't been the same man since...
Good night, Sylvia.
Sylvia, are you sure you're all right now?
Yes. Yes, Kate. I'm fine.
But she wasn't fine, Peter. And it wasn't just fatigue that was bothering her. She was frightened, I could see that. Frightened out of her wits by something. And Quentin was different. When Sylvia had left us, he sat looking at me silently for a long while. And when at last he spoke, it was on another note.
You know, Kate, all this talk of nothingness and death makes me believe more firmly than ever that man must try for happiness while he's alive.
Well, I agree. At least it's a pleasanter subject than what we've just been talking about.
I'm glad you think so. Because I'm not happy now, Kate.
But I thought you and Sylvia...
Sylvia. There's nothing between us, nothing. Hasn't been for years.
But
No, not even when we first got married. But you, when I first met you with your brother Peter years ago, something happened to me. My heart sang. It was as though I had burst out of my shell. I knew then.
Quentin, you don't know what you're saying.
I do. For the first time in years, I know exactly what I'm saying. I found a philosophy I can believe in, Kate, in a troubled world. And for the first time, I've found strength to tell you that I love you.
Quentin, please.
Kate, listen. Don't be alarmed. It would be so easy to go away together. Anything is possible for me now. Anything. We will go away. It doesn't matter where.
No.
We'll find a new life together. The power I know can be yours, too. I love you, Kate. We can make a new world for ourselves. We can be the gods of that world.
Quentin, stop.
I see. I didn't really expect you to say yes immediately. It is quite a decision. But perhaps I can get you to change your mind.
Quentin, you mustn't think.
You're right. I mustn't think. I must act.
I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep after that. I didn't even try. I went out for a walk. And when I got back, about a half hour later, there was a light in the studio at the far end of the garden. I was curious enough to walk over and look in the window. The room within was hung with oriental tapestries, with odd, crooked Eastern swords. Quentin sat alone, staring at a figure on the table before him. I could hear him through the window. His face was set, wooden, expressionless, but his eyes seemed to shine in the candlelight like a cat's. And the figure before him, it was horrible. It was a bronze statuette with a serene but awful smile on its face, a smile of hellish triumph. A dozen arms sprang from each shoulder. It bore a club with a skull at its tip, and it seemed to dance upon the back of a crouching dwarf. And Quentin, staring at it, was speaking to it.
Approach not the Raja.
I didn't know what it meant. I only knew that it was awful. That in some dreadful way, Quentin was trying to make his beliefs come alive. I ran up the lawn, and the clouds that spread over the moon seemed like dark shapes rising from some infernal pit. Wings seemed to be beating about the house as the wind rose. And in my ears rang Quentin's chanting. Even in my room I could hear it, mingle with the moaning of the wind. The moon had disappeared. I couldn't see the light in the studio. I was too far to hear it, but the chanting went on. I don't know. I seemed to hear voices in the wind, many voices chanting with Quentin. Thunder growled up from the darkness. Then there was a single flash of lightning and a clap of thunder, and on the heels of the thunder... Oh, Sylvia! Sylvia, are you all right? Sylvia, what's the matter? Oh, Sylvia!
Kate! Sylvia, what was that?
Where are you, Quentin?
Here. I was down in the garden. Did you hear?
Yes, it sounded like it came from Sylvia's room.
This way, quick.
Oh.
She must have been having a nightmare or something.
Quentin, look.
The window. Torn right out of its frame.
No, there. On the floor. Sylvia.
Good Lord.
Is she?
Let's see. Good heavens. Her head twisted all around until... And her body. It looks as if almost every bone in it is broken.
Staring at the broken body, which has been flung against the wall with unimaginable force, lying there like a shattered doll, Kate sways weakly in horror. Is this the work of some demon called up by Quentin's incantation? Or is it something else? Then, as a clock strikes somewhere in the silent house, she is certain of at least one thing in a reeling world, that she is in the presence of... murder at midnight.
At
Murder at Midnight and Death's Worshipper. Pale and shaking, Kate Bonney continues telling her story to her brother.
It was as though something with superhuman strength had twisted her head around and then just tossed her aside against the wall. Every bone in her body was broken.
It must have been pretty ghastly, but surely you're not going to let the memory of that...
It has nothing to do with memory. Something that's more than human, I don't know what, killed Sylvia. And now it's after me.
After you?
Haven't you seen the papers in the last few days?
No, you know I've been up to my neck in work. What's that got to do with it?
Oh, look here. These clippings, I've been saving them.
Let's see. Another unsolved murder. Police admit bafflement. No motive. Well?
Go on. Read the rest of it.
Middle-aged man, identified as J.D. Brathwaite, broker. Neck was wrung, apparently, by someone with tremendous physical strength.
Yes, and this one. An unidentified woman, neck wrung and the body thrown against the wall. And this, and this, and this. All the same.
Kate, darling, this is all perfectly ridiculous.
No, look. Here's a map of our neighborhood. The first death took place up here. The next 2 blocks further south. Don't you see? One after the other, they're coming closer to this house, to me.
Kate, now listen, it's quite clear what's happened. You were upset by Sylvia's death, naturally. Just because of the coincidence of these crimes, you have an obsession that someone or something is haunting you. You've been working too hard. And I suppose you've been having nightmares, too.
They're not nightmares.
I'm going to run across the street to Dr. Sanford.
No, Peter.
You lie down and try to rest. I'll bring Sanford over and have him take a look at you. You're all run down.
No, Peter, don't leave me. You don't know it.
Pour yourself a drink, Katie. I won't be a minute.
Who's that? Peter. Is that you? Peter, answer me. Who is it?
Hello, Kate. How are you?
Don't come any closer. I'll call Peter.
Why, Kate? What's the matter?
I suspected then when it happened. And now these last few days I know. Sylvia, you did it. You killed her, Quentin. I don't know how, but
You're
did.
mistaken, Kate. It wasn't I. I was only the instrument of something greater, stronger than man.
Quentin? What do you mean?
Don't be afraid. He's really benign.
He?
Shiva the Destroyer.
Oh.
It is his love for mankind that allows him to bring the blessing of annihilation.
Oh, no.
I worshipped him, and he came. He came in a rush of wind on the thunder and took possession of me. I was Shiva. Using my body, he climbed the wall, burst the window in. He killed Sylvia.
Oh, no.
Yes, Kate, I became Shiva. At least I must have. I don't remember it clearly, but there were great wings, lightnings. And when I came to myself, I was seated in my studio again.
And those others?
You know about them? Yes, I killed others. I don't remember how many. But all life will end in nothingness, and man's highest goal is to dissolve into dust. I was conferring on them the highest possible blessing, obliteration.
Quentin, you're mad. Your discovery...
My discovery has made me a god. Now he's starting to come to me, now without the incantation, without my willing it. Sometimes at night I feel the great wind of his coming. I turn to ice as the god approaches to seize upon me, and... Kate, I'm afraid.
But why did you come here? What do you want of me?
I need you, Kate. I'm afraid. That's the truth. I'm afraid of the blackness, of the nothingness, of the inevitable end of all things. When I'm alone, I feel the horror of it, of the darkness. You can save me, Kate. You're the only one who can help me. Sylvia's gone. There's nothing to prevent...
You don't know what you're saying.
Come in, Doctor. Oh, Quentin. Hello. I was just...
Stay where you are. Don't come any closer.
A gun? Now, look, Quentin.
I warn you, don't come any closer. Stand still, Peter. Kate, for the last time, will you come?
Quentin, please listen to reason. Put that gun down.
Quentin. Easy, Peter.
I wouldn't mind killing you, Peter. But if you wish to live, stay where you are. And don't follow me.
Has he gone mad or what? Kate, what happened?
I'm not sure. He killed Sylvia. He admitted it. And he's killed... I don't know how many others.
What?
It's true. He believes that Shiva, the Destroyer, controls him. He believes that when he kills, he's granting a blessings to the one he destroys.
But That's crazy.
No, not so crazy, Peter. May I say something?
Why, of course, Doctor.
I thought there was something wrong with him the minute I saw him. His eyes, I think it's a case of self-hypnosis. Something like the Moros practice when they run amok. They believe that they're possessed by God, and while in this state, they can actually perform amazing feats of strength and endurance. A number of primitive peoples have the same belief. Dervishes, Indian fakirs. Your friend must induce this state by an incantation of some kind, or by concentrating on some object until the hypnotic state is induced.
That's true. I heard him. I saw him praying to the image of Shiva. That's how he must do it.
Well, if it is true, he's extremely dangerous. We'd better get the police. May I use the phone?
Wait, I can't believe it.
He certainly wasn't joking about that gun, Peter. And according to your sister, he's already killed several times.
No. No, he mustn't do that. Peter's right. We're his friends. And he loves me. He said I was the only one who could help him. He really is afraid and alone.
Of course, Kate. Doctor, Quint and I were kids together. If he's in trouble, we've got to do something to help him, not call the police down on him. Where do you think he's gone?
I'm sure he's gone back to his house in the country. We could try there anyway.
My car is just around the corner. I think we're taking an awful chance, but on the other hand...
It's a chance we've got to take, Doctor. He told me that Shiva comes to him now without incantation. I'm terribly afraid of him and of what might happen. But I'm more afraid of what he may do now to himself or to someone else.
We turn right here below the toll gate.
That dirt road?
Yes. Look, isn't that a tail light up ahead?
Another car. It may be his.
There's a storm coming up.
If it'll just hold off for a while.
A storm. Just like that first night.
Here, the other car's turning off.
That's the driveway to Quentin's house.
Step on it. The house is dark.
Perhaps we were wrong.
No. I know where he is. This way around to the back.
There's a light.
That's the studio.
Quiet. Let's have a look first. Well, he's there. Alone. Sitting behind the table with some sort of statue in front of him.
A statue of Shiva.
The door's open. Come on.
The bright one, the happy one, Ishta Devata.
Peter,
Soma
listen.
Vivesvara.
Quentin, what are you doing?
The incantation. He's calling up that demon. Quentin, stop!
Gaja Mahamurti.
Quentin, it's
Approach
Kate.
strong
Don't you hear
power.
me? Stop it,
Gaja.
please. Please, Quentin.
Kate? Kate, is that? Sveta Mahayodi. Approach.
He's in a
not
trance.
arouse.
Shall we? No, don't touch him. The slightest thing now might turn him into a raging maniac. Let your sister try.
Quentin, you must stop. This awful thing, it isn't you anymore. It's not what you want. You said you loved me. If that's true, you must shake this madness off.
Kate, calling me? I can't. He's too strong for me.
Try, Quentin. Try. You can do it. Come back, Quentin. If you really love me, fight it. Fight it.
I can't. He's coming. Coming. Can't you hear them? Get away, Kate, before he comes. Only one thing left. One thing I can possibly... the statue. Smash it and...
Don't move, Peter.
What was it?
I can't see. That flash.
Lightning. It must have struck.
Quentin! Quentin!
Let me look, Kate. He's dead. That lightning bolt killed him immediately.
Dr. Sanford,
Hmm?
what's that on his forehead?
Burn. Lightning does curious things.
Yes, but there. The head of the statue he smashed. The same mark on its brow. Like an eye. A third eye. The mark of Shiva.
The vengeance of a thwarted god? Or coincidence? Kate and her brother look at each other, and then again at the contorted face with that inexplicable burn etched like the mark of Cain upon its forehead. And in the distance, from some far-off steeple, a clock begins to chime the hour. 12 strokes for... Murder at midnight. Remember to be with us again when death hovers on dark bat wings and the clocks strike 12 for Murder at Midnight. The part of Kate was played by Bess Johnson, and Carl Emery was Quentin. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
Watchwaddle Radio Repairman. Thanks for watching the Baba Ghoulie Show by OTR Halloween Holidays. This is Waddle the Duck saying check out Channel Watchwaddle for some fun cartoons with no static.